The first thing you need to increase your writing productivity is knowledge. You need to know what you're going to write before you actually sit down to start writing it. What this means in practice is that before each writing block, you need to consider which part of your thesis or paper you're going to focus on in this particular instance, and to have a rough outline of what the writing will entail. This outline can take many shapes and forms. For example, you could write an abstract, or you could make a bullet point list of all the arguments you would like to cover in your writing. Or you could follow the spider diagram technique. This is an outlining method that helps you flesh out both the structures and key arguments for a piece of writing. If you would like to know more about spider diagrams, visit the Sharepoint page on planning your thesis. You should give yourself time to do outlining before each time you write, as this will minimize instances of feeling stuck and not knowing how to progress with your writing. I would also recommend that you set yourself a word count target so that you know upfront how much you will write each time. The second thing you need to improve your writing productivity is time. It goes without saying that writing takes concentration, and so you should plan for specific writing blocks within your working week, during which you eliminate all other distractions, such as email or social media. But there's also a question with regards to when you are at your most productive. For example, for many people, morning hours tend to work best because the brain is fresh and they have more mental clarity, while others prefer to write at nighttime when external distractions tend to be at their lowest level. You also need to consider the optimum length of a writing block. How long is too long and how long is too short? Common wisdom tells us that longer writing blocks result in faster and higher quality writing. That's because the beginning of each writing block acts like a warm-up for your brain, and you don't want to waste that warm-up by cutting your writing time too short. Similarly, if you try to write for many consecutive hours without a break, you're certain to burn out. So reflect on your habits and plan your writing blocks upfront. The third thing you need to improve your writing productivity is enthusiasm. And this is a very easy one to forget about, particularly as your research degree and workload take their toll. Get excited about what you're going to write. Think about the hooks and arguments that interest you the most and how you will convey this to your future readers. Another way of fueling your enthusiasm, particularly if you're feeling a bit competitive at times, is to challenge yourself to break your usual word count targets. The final piece of advice I have for you today is possibly the most important one in improving productivity, and it relates to the process of writing itself. Most people follow a cyclical process when writing. The cycle entails some thinking, some actual writing, some editing of the writing, and finally polishing. So let's take this hypothetical scenario. You sit down to write, you read over your notes and work out what you're going to say and check up a couple of articles. You then write a sentence, you check the sentence over and rearrange it, you change a word, you go back to a third article to check a fact, you change a date, then you move on to the next sentence. In reading over your notes for the new sentence, you note that articulate would make a better word for explain, so you go back to the first sentence and tweak it, and then you repeat. Now, this hypothetical scenario represents what is known as the perfect sentence vortex, a never-ending cycle of incremental improvements that means you write excruciatingly slow and are never satisfied with what you write. The sentence vortex is in itself a form of writing procrastination. Now, this isn't to say that the cycle of think, write, edit, polish is wrong. If you're doing this, you're doing all the right steps in the right order, just for the wrong length of time. Editing and polishing should be activities that you engage with once you have completed a writing section and not on a sentence by sentence or paragraph by paragraph basis. So my advice is give yourself permission to write badly during your writing blocks. Think of writing as a process of generating word count that in places will be incohesive and imperfect. Embrace this stage as an important phase of your writing cycle and leave the editing and polishing for later.